We're back, and I'm very pleased to say we're joined by one of our regulars here at Securing America, Kevin Freeman. In fact, we're recording from Kevin Freeman's Economic War Room studio, where he usually holds forth. As we catch up with him, he is in Washington, D.C. We're trading places. And Kevin, let me just say thank you for the hospitality of the house. You have, with your team, Russell Lake, and the rest of your operation here at Liberty Hawk Ranch, been extremely supportive of our efforts, and we're really, really grateful to you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Frank, we're always honored to help. Everything you're doing, it's good. We've got to protect and secure America.
Amen. Well, thanks for all you do in that regard, too, with Economic War Room and, of course, globaleconomicwarfare.com. Very, very valuable blog site. Check out all of Kevin's great work at economicwarfare.com. Kevin, a couple of things that I know are in your part of the battle space. The U.S. stock market is reeling at the moment, as is the Chinese market. You're a chartered financial analyst by training. What do you make of what's going on and what it portends?
Well, you know, we've had such a strong and stable uptrend in stock prices, mostly because the Federal Reserve has been supporting and lowering interest rates. Well, recently, and we did a show on this at Economic War Room at economicwarroom.com, and we talked about things have changed. The Fed is now raising interest rates because inflation is out of hand. The Biden policies are destroying our economy. We have bare shelves in grocery stores. We have lots of people that are on the sidelines for work, but they're demanding much higher wages. We're seeing a much great increase in the inflation rate, and the net result of it is that the stock market's not used to that. They're used to a zero interest rate environment, and things are always good. It's not happening this time.
Yeah. Much of this, as you say, has been enabled by printing money, keeping the supply huge and growing. And I know that that has contributed now to inflation. One of the considerations for us, of course, from a national security perspective especially, is the extent to which all of this is putting in jeopardy the value of our dollar as the reserve currency of the world. You've been on this case, you've been warning about it for a decade or more. Are we now reaching a tipping point where people are making, arrangements in renminbi, the Chinese currency, or rubles, the Russian currency, and to the extent that the Russians and Chinese are very much set on displacing the dollar as the reserve currency of the world, is that now in the offing?
Well, you know, the irony of it is the best of times is the worst of times for the U.S. dollar. The best of times, the dollar is extraordinarily strong. Well, the Fed's raising interest rates, and so people are rushing into dollar instruments. At the same time, they're doing exactly what you said. They're planning and plotting for an economy without the dollar as the reserve currency. So we're seeing the Saudis willing to trade, the Israelis, India, and others willing to do trade arrangements without the dollar. So yes, it looks like the dollar is incredibly
European
strong.
Union now, increasingly. Yeah,
Yes.
with ruble-denominated energy sales.
It looks incredibly strong, but it's not.
Okay, it's a paper tiger, I guess, as the Chinese would say, perhaps. For years, Kevin, and I know you've contended with this argument for a long time yourself, we've been told, well, it's always a possibility that you'd be displaced, but you have to have something that would displace it. Until very recently, the ruble and the renminbi were not convertible. Is that changing? And we also hear about these so-called special drawing rights out of the International Monetary Fund, a basket of currencies which might include those. Do we really have viable alternatives to the dollar emerging now, do you think?
Yeah. The analogy is the U.S. dollar is a dirty shirt, but it's the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry. Here's the thing. The world is looking through the laundry every chance they can to find an alternative. And it's getting dirtier, our own shirt getting dirtier all the time because we keep raising our debt. Temporarily, the dollar looks very strong, but all of the rest of the world is looking for an opportunity, a moment at which they can dump that dirty shirt and pick up something else, whether it's Bitcoin, a digital dollar, a digital yuan. We see countries around the world looking for opportunities to displace the dollar, and that's a very real risk.
Yeah. Kevin, I was here in your fabulous ranch in the outskirts of Dallas last week at a really impressive summit in which you had some very smart people, some of them uh, with considerable experience in these digital currency alternatives, talking about something you call the digital Texan. Very quickly, what's up with that, and how important is it as a potential entrant in all of this?
Well, the Federal Reserve has a monopoly on money. Some could call it monopoly money, but the Constitution allowed for a state to create currency based exclusively on gold and silver coins. And so we're talking about how to digitize that and make it efficient and easy to use. We call it the digital Texan. It's allowed by the Constitution. It's supported by Supreme Court rulings, and we think it could give an alternative, a payment mechanism, but at some point, ultimately, it could be an alternative currency.
This is really exciting. It would be gold backed, as I understand. And how important is that in the kind of environment you're talking about now?
Well, I just finished reading the book by George Gilder titled The Scandal of Money. And he makes the argument that the U.S. economy went off the rails when we eliminated the gold backing of our dollar, and that we've had struggles to elevate the middle class ever since. Having something that's stable outside of the thing you're measuring is so important. Gold is outside the economy. When you have the US dollar, where you can have people manipulate it, you can have it printed, you have all sorts of things, it makes it almost impossible to measure with it. You need an outside measuring stick, and historically, 6,000 years plus human history, we have used gold as that measuring stick.
Yeah. A fascinating topic to which I know we'll be returning very soon. We have to take a short break. We're going to be returning with Kevin Freeman on the other side of it to talk about a couple of new developments as well. President Biden is off to Asia. What's up with that, and what is he likely to face there? And not least, some very important developments on the side of trying to make sure that your money is not invested in our enemy, the Chinese Communist Party. That and more straight ahead.